Hey folks, want to give a quick rundown of my homemade gravel screener, grizzly, whatever you want to call that. Different names for them, but basically I use it to sort gravel around here. I made this a couple of years ago and it's working out pretty well for me, so I just wanted to share that with a few folks. I made this basically from mostly scrap. I was able to get some scrap fencing from a job site, fence posts, the actual fencing itself, welded the basic triangle frame here, and then supported the actual screener frame on top of that. So the screener frame is supported on springs, just car coil springs, you can see, and that gives a little bit of movement, shake, and that helps to keep the sorting process moving along. Just built the basic frame, added some rebar in here just for intermediate supports across here. The standard fence stretchers, the tensioners on here, added the turnbuckles, and this keeps the fencing pretty tight on here, and when it loosens up, or if it loosens up, I can tighten it down with the turnbuckles. I've got a little crown, let's call it, in the face of this, and that helps it tension across that also. So when I built this, the center is a little bit higher on the pipe, and like I say, it just helps to keep the tension on the actual fencing itself. Most of this is standard fencing material. Added, like I say, the rebar in there, welded the tubing up, and it seems to be working okay. The springs, a little C-channel, little spring action on here, that works out pretty well. I added a little chain and a D-ring here so I can latch onto that and pull it along with the wheels. The rims, I got those again just free from scrap. Just a pipe and a pipe for an axle just to roll it around here. Seems to be working pretty well. This, with the standard fence, standard chain link, I'm able to get this down to essentially road gravel size. I'm getting something, you can see I've got maybe some 3/4, 1 inch stone in here. That's perfect for my driveway. Pretty close to road gravel size. What it does reject with this fencing on here, it rejects the little bit bigger stones. Obviously, you can, with this type of a system, you can resort. If you dump out more than you think you should, just pick it up, dump it back in, resort it. To get a little bit more specific, I guess, let's call it on your screening. One thing that I didn't do, and I probably should, at the tail end of this, you can see as I'm gathering material on the low side, I pick up and I hit the bottom end of the fence, which kind of rips that. I need to just trim that off and secure that across the bottom, and that'll clean that up just a little bit. But it works fine just the way it is. And like I say, I've had at least a couple hundred yards of gravel sorted through there, and it's really holding up pretty well. The first run on that, so with the basic screen, the fencing material on there, that if I leave that, the original run was picking up a little bit too much sand. So what I did first was I've got this other material, and this is 1 inch by 1/2 inch 14 gauge welded wire. Standard roll of welded wire type stuff from Tractor Supply. This is probably where the major expense was. I don't know. I think this was $40 or 30 something, whatever. Anyway, so this was a little bit more expensive. This is pretty common, real common type stuff, but this is holding up well. This is actually working out better than I thought it was going to, the 1/2 inch by 1, and I run it top to bottom so that it's sorting mostly the stuff that falls through that then is really sand, and it truly was sand that was just going through that. Very few stone, even pea gravel size, was shedding off that and coming down. So the way that I used it was, ran the first run, everything bigger than this would shed down this side and the sand would fall through. I then take that sand and I filled in, I don't know how much I filled in over here, but this is all filled with sand under here with the original. But yeah, so all the sand fell through. At least 75% of the material that fell through was just clean, good sand, and that 25% would shed off the side, which is this pile that I've got here now that I'm working with. I re-screed that, and that takes out these larger softball size, and down to 1 inch. Anything bigger than an inch pretty much dumps out. So I like it. It's working for me. At least a couple 100 yards on this particular project I'm doing that I've sorted, working out well. I'm going to dump it just so you kind of see a little bit of action on here and see how it actually rolls. But it works pretty good. Excuse me for the shakiness here while I set the camera, but it's try to get this all done in one take if I can. So anyway, here we go. You'll be able to see that bounce off there pretty good now. And that's how that works. Not bad. Yeah, I like it. I've been using it for a while. It's simple, inexpensive, mostly scrap. One key thing here, if you are welding on the galvanized tubing, it's galvanized tubing. Do it outdoors with a breeze, preferably with some type of an air supply apparatus if you can. Don't breathe. If anytime you're welding on galvanized, don't breathe that stuff in. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, there you go. Hope that helps somebody.